If you're planning a trip to Beijing in 2026, do not just show up here and hope for the best. That is how you waste half the day staring at a sold-out sign.
Tiananmen Square now needs a reservation. The Forbidden City doesn't do same-day tickets, and if you get the timing wrong, you'll spend more time in security lines than seeing history.
But it's worth it. Today, we're giving you the 2026 game plan, how to navigate the new rules, beat the crowds, and end with the most iconic view in Beijing.
Plus, we'll explain why 2026 is the year of the visa-free jackpot for Canadians, Brits, Aussies, and more. So, let's get into it.
Now, before you even pack your bags, you need to know that China has basically unlocked the gates. For citizens of Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, you can visit for up to 30 days visa-free. And that's already joining dozens of other countries around the world that have access to China visa-free.
You need to act fast because this trial is currently set to expire on December 31st, 2026. It's the ultimate travel limited time offer.
So when in Beijing, you have to start at Tiananmen Square.
We've been to Tiananmen Square a few times, but it hits different now because you have to actually plan for it. Can't just wander over after breakfast. You need an advance reservation and you must have your physical passport in hand.
No screenshots, no photocopies. Your passport. Security is tight and you cannot get in without it. Come early, hide your passport in your front pocket or a safe over-the-shoulder bag, and prepare to be amazed by the greatness of the Great Hall of the People.
So we're here in Tiananmen Square at 100 acres. That's pretty huge when you think about it. It's bigger than the Red Square in Russia, and it is pretty magnificent to be standing here. This is one of the only gates that is left here in Beijing. And right beside it, you can see that there is another gate, which is actually the guard gate. So that is to look over that one and protect it. There are only 2 gates left here in Beijing.
So we are in the heart of Tiananmen Square. This is where all the action happens. And this is where the people think of celebration and happiness. This is behind me is the government building and the People's Monument, commemorating all the wars and all the people who have died for China. You have the National Museum on one side, you have Chairman Mao's tomb on the other, and you have Tiananmen Gate, the oldest building in the square, built 600 years ago. We are very lucky to be here at this time of year. October 1st is the national holiday, and they have this giant vase built right in Tiananmen Square to celebrate. Wow, it's quite impressive.
Now, once you finish up in Tiananmen Square, you're going to make your way to the Forbidden City. Now, the square and the Forbidden City are neighbors, so you need to do them together. But here's where most travelers actually fail. They show up at the gate thinking that they can buy a ticket. Well, you can't. The Palace Museum, that's the official name, requires advanced reservations online.
So once you're done standing in the middle of that giant, enormous square, you'll notice a very big, busy road separating you from the Forbidden City. Well, that's Chang'an Avenue, and you definitely aren't dodging the traffic there.
No, you are not. You have to use the underground pedestrian passages. Look for the tunnels at the northwest or northeast corners of the square. And this is how you get from Tiananmen Square to the Forbidden City. There's a whole underground pathway that goes underneath the street to pop up at the other side. Pretty convenient.
It's a quick walk, and they even have ramps at the Northwest Tunnel if you're avoiding the stairs or if you have disability issues.
But don't get confused. People always ask us about the famous underground city bomb shelters. Now in 2026, those are still closed for renovation, so you're just using the tunnels that are across the street.
But the real secret is even that if you're just using the tunnels to get to the Forbidden City, you still need that Tiananmen Square reservation on your passport.
And if you try to access without a square booking, well, security will stop you before you even get close to the tunnels. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk from the square through the Tiananmen Gate until you finally reach the Meridian Gate, which is the only entrance to the palace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to enter the Forbidden City. It's not so forbidden anymore, people.
This is one amazing Forbidden City. So we've made it here inside the main gate, and man, you can just feel the history here when you walk in. It's been here for so long, you wonder who walked along these stones. It really is one of the most impressive places I've seen.
Well, we've already walked through 2 gates and we're still going in the Forbidden City, and we're not even in the inner city yet.
Beijing has a strict one-way policy for the Forbidden City. You enter at the south and you exit at the north or east. There is no turning back.
No, it's like a historical idea. Once you start on that path, you're committed all the way to the end.
And there's no shortcut to the marketplace.
No, there is not.
The Forbidden City was home to emperors for more than 500 years, and once you are through the main gates, you start to understand the scale of that world. The Palace Museum describes it as the imperial palace of the Ming and Qing dynasties, and you'll walk through a vast complex of ceremonial halls, courtyards, gates, side residences, gardens, and layered spaces that just keep unfolding as you move through them.
Yeah, the Forbidden City is not just a palace, it's a city within a city. And our advice, don't try to see every single room. Focus on the central axis, but then find a quiet courtyard on the side. Be quiet and just breathe.
As you keep walking deeper and deeper inside, you'll move from the big ceremonial spaces into more intimate areas of the complex. And that shift is one of the most interesting parts of the visit.
Yeah, you start out in these vast public spaces built to project power, and then gradually move into sections that feel more personal, more enclosed, and more human. That contrast is what makes the Forbidden City so fascinating. It's not just about size, it's about how the whole palace was organized around hierarchy, ritual, and control.
By the time you reach this point, you have probably covered a lot more ground than you realized. So make sure to wear good shoes, bring plenty of water, and give yourself some breathing room. It's a marathon, not a sprint. This is a place at its best when you slow down and take it all in.
But the ending, in my opinion, is the best part, the Imperial Garden. After all that stone and power, the trees and rockeries feel like a soft landing. It reminds you that, hey, people actually lived here. So when you go to the Forbidden City, make sure you head up to the hill to get an overview over everything.
After exploring the garden, if you do only one extra thing today in Beijing, make it Jingshan Park. It's right across from the north exit and up a high hill.
Yeah, here it's a bit of a climb. Nothing outrageous, but enough that you will feel it if you've already been walking all morning. 1,998, 1,999, 2,000. Actually, I have no idea how many steps it is. Still, this is 100% worth it. If you want the classic view over the Forbidden City, this is where you're going to get it.
It is definitely worth walking up the hill to overlook the Forbidden City. The moat is 52 meters wide, and that's because back in the day, an arrow couldn't shoot farther than 52 meters, so it kept everyone safe. So come on up here and you look over the whole of the Forbidden City and Beijing.
It's busy, but it's worth it.
It's the only way to truly grasp the scale of what you just walked through. Plus, it stays open later than the palace, so it's the perfect sunset spot.
So if you're visiting Beijing, this is the route we recommend for the perfect day at the Forbidden City. Reserve Tiananmen Square in advance, pre-book the Forbidden City with your passport, arrive early, give yourself a good chunk of the day, and finish at Jingshan Park for the best view in the city.
The Forbidden City and Tiananmen Square are one of the most iconic sightseeing days in China, but it's also one of the easiest to mess up if you don't know the new rules.
Yeah, and hopefully this video helps you avoid that and helps you enjoy one of Beijing's most unforgettable experiences properly.
Once you're in China, put your wallet away. You need Alipay or WeChat Pay. China is essentially cashless now. If you're trying to pay for coffee with a crinkled 100 yuan note, you're going to get some very confused looks.
And for getting around, download Didi. It's the Uber of China. It's in English and it saves you from trying to act out your destination in a game of street-side charades. We've done that. If you want more things to do in Beijing, make sure to check out our video in the link below.
And if you have some questions about visiting Beijing and China, drop them in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe because we have more China updates and travel guides coming every week.
So don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next stop and start planning your visa-free travels to China right now. We'll see you at the Great Wall.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Ciao for now.